You don't have to look very far to find someone speculating about the end of the world, whether they're talking about environmental catastrophe, political chaos, or predicting when Jesus will come again. But God himself is the one who will bring the human story as we know it to an end, to completion. We know from our other readings about grace and about the cross that it's through faith in Jesus that we can be right with God, and that when the day of completion comes, that this will be good news for those that believe in Jesus. Today's reading speaks of an end to the first heaven and the first earth, our reality as we know it, if you like. But it also speaks of a new beginning, of a new heaven and a new earth. What this passage doesn't say is that the world will be destroyed, but that the new Jerusalem, God's dwelling place, will come down from heaven. It hints at restoration and renewal. Hope in God's renewal of his world not only gives us confidence to go on living, but it can redeem our commitment to the world itself. I want to point out three things that John's word tell us what completion is going to be like. Firstly, it shows us when that God wraps up the human story, that God's people will be with God. Verse 3 says, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God." There'll be no more doubt of, was that really God's presence I felt? Was that really God speaking to me? No more questions of, why can't I see God? Why can't I know God more clearly? Because when God completes all things, God's people will be fully with him, as clear as day, will be able to know God and enjoy his presence. Secondly, there'll be no more pain or tears or mourning or death, no more of the suffering that we experience in our world today. Verse 4 says, "He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There'll be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." This is good news and part of our Christian hope. A day with no pain and suffering, mourning or death, for Jesus has defeated death once and for all. And finally, God will be king and everything will be made new. Verse 5 says, "For he who was seated on the throne," Jesus will be known as king by all, said, "I am making everything new." Everything will be made new. We complete our Bible readings, well done for making it, with a reading about the completion of all things. And we're reminded that when that day comes, God's people will enjoy dwelling with God himself. There'll be no pain, suffering, mourning or death. That it will be clear that Jesus is king and everything will be made new. We know how the story ends, and this is good news for those who believe in Jesus. Good news that we can be thankful for, and good news that we can share with others. Thank you so much for joining in our Bible reading plan. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's encouraged your faith. We'll see you soon.